Hi, I'm Mike Marko. In this video, I want to talk to you about your social media platforms. Now, social media is huge nowadays with regards to, that's where people spend a lot of time. A lot of their casual downtime is on social media. In fact, probably people at work are even on social media during their breaks or probably even during meetings. Social media is huge. Your target audience resides on social media. So, in most cases. And so what you want to do is actually have a social media presence. Now, when I talk to my clients, there's four main social media platforms you need to consider. Again, knowing your target audience are and maybe you can guess them already. Are Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Okay, so again, depends on your target audience. On Facebook, you tend to have a slightly older demographic, okay? And it's got probably one of the best marketing platforms out there is Facebook, okay? So Facebook is not something you can ignore. Facebook bought Instagram, and Instagram is a slightly younger demographic, more visual, okay? And they also have some of the highest, it's got some of the highest interactions per user is on Instagram, so you can't ignore Instagram. So, and the nice thing about that is the Facebook marketing platform actually helps control your ads on Instagram. Next thing is Twitter. Having those fast tweets out there is a great way of actually getting some messages out there. I use Twitter all the time with regards to tweeting my blog posts out and getting some inspirational messages out there. And it's a great way because I've actually gotten a lot of clients off of Twitter. So Twitter is not something you want to ignore depending on what your demographic is. YouTube is cool, okay? Now, I remember, you're probably thinking to yourself, I can't do a video. Well, when I first did my first video, it sucked. Like literally, it looked like a hostage taking. I literally had a white sheet behind me, I had bright lights, and I was terrified reading from a script. It looked like it was at gunpoint. So you can't get any worse than that. So what you want to do is if you find yourself a little shy in front of YouTube, in front of a video, practice. Because if you can get over that, it's getting your message out there on YouTube, it's a great way of getting in front of your audience and they get to know who you are. Now, what you could do initially, depending on what your niche is for the business you're in, the consulting or whatever you're into, is you could try doing screen sharing where you actually have just a picture of you teaching something on a screen so you can get at least some exposure. It's a lot easier to talk to, say, if you're doing a teaching on a tool, right, than it is to go in front of a camera like this trying to teach somebody something directly without anything else. So that's something you might want to consider. But anyway, the nice thing about YouTube, if you shoot the videos, sometimes even 60 seconds or less, you can take those same videos and put it on Instagram. You can also take those videos you create and put them on Facebook, so you can actually multi-purpose it. And we've talked about digital assets. You can actually put, when you have, let's say, a website, you can actually have your video embedded from YouTube on a blog post if you have a blog. And then from that blog, you can actually have it playing the video, which causes a link back to YouTube video. So these are great social media platforms. You can rank in Google as well. You can get any one of these to rank in Google, some time and effort. No guarantees, because you never know what's going to rank in Google, but it can't hurt to have this out there. Now, there are other social media platforms, and it depends, again, on knowing who your target audience is and whether or not it makes sense for you. So, for instance, you could have Pinterest, LinkedIn, Snapchat, okay, and a bunch of others. Okay, there's social media platforms coming out all the time. Now, whether or not the question is, should I spend time on these? Well, it depends. Who is your target audience? Are they spending a lot of time on this? Okay, so for instance, if your target audience tends to be in a demographic where they're doing a lot of crafts and that kind of thing, then maybe you need to take a look at Pinterest and do some searches and see if that's where your target audience is residing. Okay, LinkedIn, if you have professionals. Now, I'm not, at this point in this video, it's not the best platform for marketing, but it still has a great way of doing those connections And I even have a presence on LinkedIn because it ranks good in Google and it helps give you that social proof. And Snapchat, again, depends on your target audience. And whatever other social media platforms you want to get onto, first step is know who your target audience is. Second step is where do they spend their time? Okay, so by doing that, and you start building up these platforms, that's really going to help you over time build that social proof and presence that you need. Because when people start searching your name, especially as you get bigger, your consulting business, coaching business, whatever you're doing is getting bigger, you want to make sure you have a good size following, because it comes down to social proof. If they go to your Facebook page, your business page, and they see only 10 followers or 100 followers, it doesn't have a whole lot of credibility. Okay, that's why you want to keep on build up your platforms and build up that following, targeted following, as quickly as you can. Now, talking about building up your accounts, when you do build up your accounts, you want to have the username similar as possible in every case. Like for example, the first platform, user ID that I have was r.mike.marko1. I've used that on Instagram. I've used that into Twitter. It really helped build that up. Okay, and I actually have a search for it you can find on YouTube as well, because I actually use that in YouTube. So whatever username that you have, or whatever business name you have, in other cases, I am Consultant Services. Okay, I am Consultant Services. It's another one, because I have multiple channels, different social media channels. I have Instagram ones, or social media platforms for I am Consultant Services, and branding my own name as well. But I keep the usernames consistent, so that way it has that more of a congruency. Plus, when people search for it, they're going to find you on all the different platforms, instead of having different usernames for every one. So if your username is taken already, after you've done some search, then you may want to change it and see if I can find, okay, maybe I want to use a slightly different username, or do some derivative, so that way you can try to keep them all similar if you can. Okay? So that's it for this video. Start building your social media platforms right away, because you should already have your target audience figured out. You should know where they reside, do some research, and start building your platforms and start putting out some content and getting some followers. Okay? Thank you very much for it, and I will talk to you later.